Welcome to this month's Conscious Discipline Structure, where we'll be going over the very powerful and often underestimated Wish Well structure from Conscious Discipline for accessing composure. So remember that conscious discipline is not something that we do to children. It's actually for us, the adults, where we are intentionally regulating ourselves. So when we intentionally self-regulate, it's called composure. And being more composed more of the time allows us to spend more time in our executive green state to respond to the events of life rather than to react to things that are going on around us. Composure is essential to creating a healthy school family in your classroom and in your center. Composure is also kind of difficult to do. Therefore, we have to consciously discipline ourselves to be able to self-regulate whenever something or someone pushes our buttons. So shifting gears for a moment, I promise I'll help connect these two things for your brain in a moment. So just take a moment right now to think about how you use the Wish Well structure. You might be using a Wish Well board similar to the one that's on the screen right now to replace your Who is at Home and Who is at School board. A lot of folks are doing that. You might also be in the habit of moving hands from heart center and chanting with the children to the Wish Well song, which I'll serenade you with right now, which goes, "We wish you well, all through the day today, we wish you well." And these are both true, useful applications of the Wish Well structure. But what if I told you that there's a way more effective way to use Wish Well, and that its true power is actually directly related to your ability, and then therefore the children's ability, to access composure for self-regulation? It's true. Wish Well's secret power is that it's actually a shortcut from any lower state into your highest green executive state. So to connect Wish Well and composure really clearly for you, Wish Well is actually the way that you can compose yourself. It's a strategy that you can use to compose yourself. And that's because Wish Well is an internal practice where you discipline yourself to pause, regulate yourself by breathing, and then you're going to make a conscious choice to shift your emotional energy and intent. You call upon yourself, that internal self-talk that we're practicing, maybe with hands at heart center. You're going to call a helpful image to mind, and then you're going to be breathing out. Again, maybe releasing those hands to send that helpful Wish Well energy outwards from yourself. And you can wish well of yourself when you're having a hard time. You can wish well to the other person when they're having a hard time. And you can even wish well of the situation when the situation is hard. So any of those options will work. You're just going to go with whatever's most useful to you in the moment. So for example, my husband and I have this pattern of arguing in our house. That's what we do. We argue with each other, right? So to get myself and then our relationship out of this pattern, I'll actively wish well for him. And then sometimes, especially when I know I'm right and all I want to do is yell it at him, I will wish myself well in order to shift how I'm showing up and not argue. I've also wished well for many a 4-year-old mean girl in a preschool classroom, because one of my button pushers is when a child leaves another child out on purpose. So I will often have to wish that 4-year-old well in my mind and then regulate myself in that moment so that I can respond rather than react by just being snotty and saying that she also can't come to my birthday. From your executive green state, then, you're in the zone. You can access all of your brilliance, all of those skills that you know that you can use to problem solve and to handle things. So for example, that child, he's calling names. And that allows you, when you're composed, to just realize that he's feeling mad, he's feeling upset. So rather than taking every ugly word personally, because you're no sassy ass B word, it allows you to respond to that child who's upset and soothe their upset rather than take that person, right? And that driver, well, she's obviously in a hurry. She cut you off, and you want to stay away from their car so that you can feel safe and carry on with your, therapeutic retail shopping trip to Target and not let them derail your day, right? So you get the point. Those are some examples of how we can show up in life differently when we can use that wish well to access our skill of composure. When you can reliably access your own composure, then you can download the children in your classroom, school family, with calm. This is how regulated classrooms take shape. So the act of wishing well helps to replace those typical reactions in the classroom with helpful responses instead. Here's some examples of how that can happen. Wishing well is a way to instantly calm ourselves and offer love and caring to others. So when we do that in the classroom, it becomes a way for the children to help others when there is no physically tangible way for them to offer their help. I think that this is particularly true if a classmate is having a meltdown, or you have to clear a classroom, or even if a child has a repeatedly hard time. You can help the class feel safe and offer empathy through the skill of composure by leading them in a wish well. Wish well is also an essential step in the time machine problem solving process that you can use with preschool and older children who are having a conflict. And bonus, leading children in a classroom wish well when things are hard also helps cut down on the likelihood of children getting stuck in judgment to the point of going home and just complaining to their parents about what so-and-so did when they pushed today in the classroom. And so how this will shift is that they will still tell their parents. They should tell their parents, right? We want them to advocate. But what it'll do is it'll land with more understanding on the child's part and some more empathy. So it might sound more like, Bo pushed, and we don't push. That's not safe at school. He is still learning how to ask. And so I wait for him to ask with the teacher's help. That's what might come out of the child's mouth to their parents instead, right? And you don't have to feel so many upset parent complaints about what's going on when you can use the wish well to help the children have a helpful response and manage their upset when somebody else is having a hard time in the classroom. With these examples and your clear intent, now it's your turn to start using wish well with its truest intent and strongest power to self-regulate within your classroom and center. We wish you well.